Howdy y'all, it's Curious Raven. I hope y'all are doing okay, and I hope everyone that was in the path of Helene is doing okay. I'm in Orlando, Florida, and we barely got anything, just some wind, branches in the yard, a little bit of rain. But today I'm going to read 7 haunted house stories, and I hope y'all enjoy. Number 1. Last night I woke up to my bed shaking, and I just assumed it was someone waking me up, but right as I woke up properly, I heard like a sort of grunt, like when someone older is hopping out of bed. It was like a deep older man's sort of grunt, and then after that I heard footsteps all around my room. After I looked around my room, I rolled over to go back to bed. And I would say after like 30 seconds, I heard a loud bang outside my window. I then got up for work at about 1:40 a.m. and my dog was outside at the door, looking physically scared. I've asked my family if they heard any bangs or anything at all, and they all said they heard absolutely nothing. Am I going insane? Has anyone had this happen to them? Like a similar experience? Can someone try explaining this to me? Like, it's kind of freaking me out, not gonna lie. Number 2. So when my mom was a kid, they moved to this farm and my grandparents still live there. Anyway, my mom and everyone else would experience the same thing. Like she told me that she would hear running around upstairs and doors slamming and kids laughing. And there was this one time when her radio was on and she tried to change the radio station, but it wouldn't change. So she unplugged it and it was still on. And another one was my mom and her parents, and these 2 guys were all sitting at the table, and my mom and her parents were talking about how the house is haunted. And one of the 2 guys was like, "Bullshit, this place ain't haunted." And then the fan stopped, like it came to a halt and started spinning the other direction. And the 2 guys ran out of there as fast as they could. Recently, my mom told me she found out a man actually died in that house. And once my mom moved out, my grandparents said it all stopped. Number 3. So when my dad was younger, he used to live in El Paso, Texas, before moving here up north. But nothing there was this like manner he told me about. It was him, his cousin, my older cousin, which is also his nephew, and my grandma. So anyway, his cousins acting all brave decided to get a camera with them and took some pictures, and my dad saw like it was someone holding a lantern walking down the stairs in the manor. And mind you, they were outside of the manor and they think someone is going to come out the door and tell them to get off the property. But then the lantern disappears. Then they go look at the pictures of the house and they didn't see any lantern or anything. Yes, later my grandma went back to go and look at the house and it still looks brand new, like when she was just as a kid. Weird, huh? Number 4. I wouldn't consider this a paranormal thing, but it's still freaky, in my opinion. So I moved into a new house like a half a year ago with my dad and my younger brother. I got the room that was upstairs, and it's the only room that is upstairs because the stairs lead just to my room. Like 3 months pass, and my dad says to me, "I believe that a ghost is in your room." So obviously I'm like, "Boy, what?" So after he told me that, my room had a different type of energy. Nothing would go on in my room for like the first year. The only thing weird about it is that there is this one corner that feels like something is there. Like all the energy is in that one corner. So a year passed, my dog starts to look in the corner a lot. Like a whole bunch. Sometimes he would be under the blankets and randomly jerk up and run out of the blankets just to sit down and look at the corner with his ears perked up. Later, only at night, I would hear these knocking noises in my walls, which scared me. I started to believe more and more that the ghost is real until today, January 26th, 2024, convinced me 100% that this ghost is real. It was like 7:30 p.m. and I went into my closet to get a shirt, and there was a full breeze in there. And mind you, that there isn't a fan or any vents. So my mind went like, what is happening? I go out of my closet and shut the door and lay down on my bed. I'm on my phone while watching a show, and then I hear my closet doorknob move. I look over and it was literally turning by itself. It was doing that for a hot 5 seconds and then it stopped. After that, I freaked out and just remembered, oh yeah, there's a ghost in my room. But after that, I'm convinced that it's real and my dog can see it. I would also like to add that one night when I was falling asleep, something pulled my ear, like it was trying to get me out of bed. I know I didn't imagine it because it felt way too real. Number 5. Of all the spirits I've crossed paths with in my life, there are 2 of them that have been seen by many of my friends and acquaintances across the globe. These separate entities seem to have appeared to many people I know since their childhoods. They always appear as, respectively, a young woman in a white nightgown with long, greasy black hair, and a tall, Victorian-seeming man with a black cloak, a hat, and occasionally red eyes. My ex, living in Texas, once saw the woman when he was a child. He woke up one night, sleeping in the same room as his sister, to find the woman standing over him, leaning down into his face and watching him. He remembers that he thought it was his mother. His sister saw the spirit too. A friend of mine living in Alaska saw her when she was a child. The woman rushed through the room and disappeared. This friend, too, thought the spirit was her mother. As for the man, he's appeared to my friends in England and Canada, as well as to me here in the U.S. He always just stands there and watches you from his tall height. I have a theory that he's the spirit Jack the Ripper. Has anyone else ever seen either of these spirits or heard of them? Who are they? Number 6. Back in the late 1980s, I rented a basement apartment in Rochester, New York, in a building called the Wilmot. The building was a mansion designed in the antebellum style. When it was constructed, it was owned by one of the founders of Western Union. The family was happy there until their eldest son drowned in front of his father's eyes. At this time in Rochester, the Fox sisters, Leah, Maggie, and Kate, had just started the spiritualist movement and began performing seances. It is rumored they regularly performed seances and had seances party at this same address. Fast forward to 1989. My one-bedroom basement apartment was located at the front of the building. The parking lot was located in the rear of the building. When I parked in the parking lot, I would enter the building, go down the stairs, into the basement, and walk the length of the building, past storage units and a sauna, to the back entrance of my apartment. The mansion was very large, so this was about a minute walk. I walked the length of the building every night, since I always parked in the lot. One night the lights weren't working in the basement. It was spooky, but I didn't care, because I had made the walk so many times before. As I walked through the dark basement, I could hear laughter. I thought it was some people using the sauna. But as I got closer to the back door to my apartment, the sound of the laughter got louder. It sounded like a party. I could hear glasses clinking and the sound of silverware on china. When I got to the back door of my apartment, it sounded like the party was right inside my apartment. I thought I had left my TV on. I put my key in the lock and turned the knob. And then the noise just stopped. I entered the storage area to my apartment, and it smelled like roses and lilies. When I walked into my apartment, everything was quiet. I hadn't left the TV or the radio on. It was dead silent. I had interrupted the ghost party. Number 7. I was born in a Victorian terrace. Had mom, dad, 2 older brothers. When I was about 7, I was walking down the attic stairs. They were in a spiral. When I turned to face the landing, I saw an old man leaning against the banisters about 2 meters in front of me. He had blood down his face and on his shirt. My parents told me that they knew about him. We would see him walking across the landing from the living room. You could see the entire upstairs landing from downstairs. He would noisily walk down the attic stairs most nights. Every step had a distinct sound. Our neighbors saw him once when they came around. Dad asked a man across the street who lived there his whole life about the history of our house. He said that before us, an old couple lived there. The woman died, and the man had become an alcoholic. One day, a neighbor found him outside the door. He tripped up the curb and smashed his head. He helped him in and put him in a chair and left him. He was found a week later, having bled to death. There's loads more, but I had to condense it. Alright, that's the end of this little collection of stories. I hope y'all enjoyed. I love y'all so much. I will see you tomorrow. But until then, remember, it's scary out there. Please like and subscribe.
I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. I see the world through ice covered in